If you didn't know before, you know now. For all those who are standing, I do appreciate you. You almost make me feel like I'm real important when you stand up and I come in. I almost feel like a pastor. Almost. I probably got about 4-5 more years, and then I may accept it, and it is what it is. But you may be seated. Thank you. First and foremost, I want to thank Bishop Collins for giving me another opportunity to have this service. This is the 8th annual tip-off at the Cross. It started out in 2011 in Morrow. And it's always good. I see Coach Jay Harris is here, and he was here at the first one. And it's been to, I think, every one but one. And it always gets to a point that I feel bad. I'm like, what can I do for you? What can I come to that you're having? Because he's at everything that I do. Very supportive. We've had Monday's Meal, Tri-City, Sandy Creek, Creekside, just you name it. They've been here. And really what's happened is we have a camp, 24-hour camp, and a lot of those guys did not go to sleep. They don't have their phones, so they're kind of having the shakes right now. So they're hearing random buzzing that's not really happening. I got a couple other coaches, Coach Toy, Coach Rose, anybody else's coaches in here? I'll leave you out. But we just thank you all for coming. Now, we believe how you start a thing is how you will finish it. And Mother Odom told me that when she comes in and see a bunch of young people, she already knows what's happening. She kind of knows what day it is. But finally, I want to thank my beautiful wife. Could you stand up? And she just ministered through dance. She's been supportive since day one. She listens to my crazy ideas and gives me advice. And for all the guys, I tell a lot of mama jokes, but this is the reason they're not true. So you guys have nothing to worry about. Thank you. So as I transition into my very short message, very short, I would ask that you open your copy of the Word to St. Mark, the 8th chapter, verse 25. And once you found it, you can stand up for one last time. I will be speaking on Jesus healing a blind man. That is St. Mark, chapter 8, verses 25. And once you found it, you can stand. If you don't have it, you can stand and act like you do have it. Sometimes it's just better to look like you know what you're doing. So the people around you don't know that you don't know. So hopefully before you leave, you will know. Now before you zone off, because you've heard the story of Jesus healing the blind man, I'm asking that you give me your undivided attention for a few 5 minutes. That's all it will take, a few 5 minutes. And I promise you that you won't leave the same way that you came. And it is great to see Pastor Jones and Lady Jones. It just adds more pressure. Just more. Now I'll be reading from the NIV version. So if you have that version, you can read along with me. If not, you can read silently as we read together. Verse 25 reads, "Once more, Jesus put his hands on the man's eyes. Then his eyes were opened. His sight was restored, and he saw everything clearly." Even though my pericope covers verses 22 through 26, I know almost all that I need from verse 25. This will be an interactive message because most of us are tired, so we got to keep you up for a few 5 minutes. So I'm going to give you a few instructions that if you follow, you won't get left behind. If you don't follow and you get left behind, that's more so a you thing and not a me thing. Don't leave saying that coach didn't preach. say that you didn't listen. The first thing I will lead you with is my title. And I want you to make it personal. You don't have to go across the room. Just look at your neighbor and look him close in the eyes. Give him them, that it's about to go down eyes. Now, whatever going down for you is, it might be different for me. But tell them, let's be clear. It ain't what it looks like. And that's the title of my message, and you may be seated. Let's be clear. It ain't what it looks like. So I really don't have to preach. I can stop right there. Because some of y'all got it twisted. But let's be clear. It ain't what it looks like. This is not what you want. Sometimes you got to let them know, hey, it ain't what it looks like. My wife says it all the time. Let's be clear. It ain't what it looks like. Yeah, he tells a lot of jokes. But it ain't what it looks like. Let's be real clear. If I had to go up to Tri-Cities High School, let's be clear. It ain't what it looks like. I got a collar, I got a Bible, but I can put all of them down for 5 minutes. A few 5 minutes. But I won't chase a rabbit. We all know the story is about a man that's being healed. But if we look at verse 25 and exegete that text, it says that his sight was restored. When we talk about restoration, we speak of bringing something back to its original state. Being that the word restoration was used, it lets us know that he was not blind from birth. It said that he was healed. He was restored, which lets us know that he wasn't that way all the time. Now, we don't know how long this man has been blind. We don't know why he was blind. However, it is believed that in that time, if someone had an illness, it was because of something that they had done wrong. So if you are lost, don't worry. Don't try to figure it out. Just give me how long? You're not listening. A few 5 minutes. A few 5 minutes. I can't do it in 5 minutes. Let's be clear. I'm going to need more than 5. I need a few 5 minutes. But I'll come back and get you if you're lost. So we have a clear understanding that this man who was not born blind, that he ended up being healed. So now we can go back to the beginning of the story, or at least the part that we came in on, because that's the way it works. We don't always come in to a story of how it happened. We just meet people where they are. And we want to kind of give our advice and give opinions on the situation, but we really don't know where it started. This morning, I came with a rhema word from God. Someone came in these doors in a bad situation. Now, you can be super churchy and, spiritual and say it's not you, but I'll say it's me for you. There are some areas in your life that need restoration. You may not suffer from physical blindness, but you are blind in some areas. And everybody around you can see it. The word blindness is defined as a lack of vision. So a lot of us came in here with no vision. You may not have lost all of your vision, but somewhere along the way, you lost your sight. You lost your vision. I came to 6084 Riverdale Road this morning with a message of hope. I know that you are going through, because I am too. But let's be clear. It ain't what it looks like. And because this is an interactive message, I did say, even for the Wilsons in the back, that it is interactive. I'm going to need your participation. That is all of you. So, whenever I say, let's be clear, and I point to you, can you guess what your response is going to be? It ain't what it looks like. And this is the point that, the church mother that wants to run, or if you want to get out your seat, you can yell it back. It ain't what it looks like. This is when you get to kind of wake up. Because I know we're all tired. And I already know how they do me. They're going to stop playing. If it was Bishop, they'd be. But when Coach get up here or somebody else, they like, good luck. Then Mike told me last time, you got to give him something to make a noise about. Well, I got you today, Mike. Let's be clear. All right. Oh, okay, all right. So that was about a 3. Because I already know the McKissic game, which is Wednesday, we're going to be a whole lot louder in that section. I hope so. So let's try it one more time. Let's be clear. That sounds good for all the church folks. Well, how about all the hoopers over there that's usually yelling and jumping and all of that? I done had to ride in my car, listen to all kind of cussing and trying to be cool with y'all. What, a little dirt? I don't know. All this mumble rap. So, if you give me a few 5 minutes of undivided attention and you act like me, I'll act like I can preach real quick. So let's try it one more time. Let's be clear. That sounds real good. You say, y'all real responsive. One of them got out, who, AJ? All right, let's be clear. That must not be good enough. Okay. We'll get you right. Verse 22 says, they came to Bethsaida, and some people brought a blind man and begged Jesus to touch him. I'm going to give you 5 indications that it ain't what it looked like. I didn't say let's be clear, so. But let's be clear. I'm going to give you 5 indications that it ain't what it looks like. Indication number 1, if you are a note taker, you have been purged from your regularly scheduled program. You have been purged from your regularly scheduled program. Think about the man who had no vision, a blind man. The man was blind, so he used others to do things for him. This is before the time of, Uber and things like that, so he really leaned on other people. He most likely wasn't able to live a normal day-to-day life without the support system of others around him. But let's be clear. Just because you have a support system doesn't mean you should always depend on them. Sometimes we take advantage of those people who are there to help us. After a while, people get tired of holding you up, because holding you up ends up holding themselves down. So I want to illustrate this, and I asked my brother here to come. He said, Coach, I got you. So we get you two, Devon and my brother here. If you could come up, and we're just going to illustrate what it is like to you can come here to carry someone. And let me see. Tay, come over here for me, Tay. Tay is real shy, but Tay is what we call a dog. So just because he is quiet, let's be clear. That is not what you want. So, Tay is something else. So what I want you guys to do is carry Tay from one side of the church to the other and just go back and forth. Walk a little bit slower. See, right now they're doing it wrong, because if he's going to be able to function, he's going to have to be able to be normal. So he wants to be sitting like he's in a chair. There you go. So now walk real slow. So now he has a smile on his face because Not because he did something right, because the people he's depending on had to go out of their way to make sure he was comfortable. So how many of you all are in a situation that you're just tired of? No, what you doing? We didn't tell you to get tired. Let's be clear. I asked you for help. You said, Coach, what? Wade said, I got you, Coach. Bro, I got you. I'm here. So you here now. So carry this big joker all around. And I hate to say it, but some of y'all teammates who ain't doing your job, people are tired of carrying your weight. They're tired of carrying you around while you on Instagram doing crazy things and making us look bad. Now here in church too, we tired of carrying your weight. While you don't come to Bible study, but you want to be in the front. See, they done gave up on them already. And this is about the strongest brothers we got in the church. So what happens when the strongest we have gives up on you? And people around say, if they can't do it, I know I can't do it. So at this point, it says that they brought the blind man to Jesus because they're just tired of carrying him around. They didn't say because he was tired of being carried. They said because they were tired. Sometimes you got to decide, I am too tired to keep carrying you. Now, I'm going to need about 5 more water bottles or I'm not going to make it. Thank y'all. Y'all can sit down. I appreciate y'all. Nah, I was like serious about that. So these people had become so tired of his mess that when they heard that Jesus was in town, they expeditiously brought the man to Jesus. They saw an opportunity to finally get all of this extra weight off of their back. When you purge something, you remove it from an organization in a quick and sometimes violent way. The blind man had been purged from his friends. Just imagine how difficult it is to carry someone with no vision. And I know Bishop Collins, like I've been doing it for 27 years. I am tired. I'm not speaking for her, by the way. But I can imagine, and Pastor Jones and all the other pastors, that it gets real frustrating carrying people with no vision. They only want to know what you can offer. They don't ask what I can do for you. So they are living in your house. I'm not talking about y'all. Eating up your food, taking up your space, breathing your air, but they have no direction, no vision, and you are their main source of support. So if you are going through and your normal activities has been drastically changed, you need to understand that it is not what it looks like. Verse number 23 reads, He, Jesus is he, took the blind man by the hand and led him outside of the village. Yeah. Indication number 2. You have been poached out of your comfort zone. You have been poached out of your comfort zone. Poached is defined as taking or acquiring in an unfair, clandestine way, which means it's kept in secret or done in private. The first thing that Jesus did when he brought the man was take him by the hand and take him out of his comfort zone. He took the man out of the village. Here's the problem where most of us get in trouble and we get stuck. The man had no vision, yet he was smart enough to have faith in Jesus and walk where he couldn't see or feel his way. So he didn't have vision, but he was smart enough to be connected with someone who would drop him off to somebody who had a vision. But a lot of us, we don't have vision, but we don't want to follow. We don't want to lead. We don't want to follow. We just want to be loud and wrong. Just loud and wrong. I was told if you're going to be wrong, be quiet. If you're going to be loud, you at least better be right twice a day. So, especially us, black and brown people, we are big on saying, this just don't feel right. I ain't feeling this. This ain't agreeing with my spirit. All right, I'm the only one that heard that before. Me and my wife, we the only one that heard that before. It's all good. So, but this man, he was able to walk into a place that he didn't feel or see. He couldn't see anyway. So he had enough faith to walk with Jesus. You may feel like God has you in a wilderness state where you don't know anything about what's going on around you. You may think it is bad, but let's be clear. Let's be clear. You have been poached on purpose. You have been taken out of that area on purpose. And a lot of us, we're just scratching and fighting, trying to get back to Egypt instead of Eden. Both of them got ease, but they're completely different directions. When he had spit on the man's eyes, he put his hands on him. Jesus asked, "Do you see anything?" The man looked up and said, "I see people that look like trees walking around me." Indication number 3, you have personified your issues. You have personified your issues. When we are going through turmoil, we tend to use personification on our issues. Everyone around you can see that it's not as bad as it looks. It's not as bad as you keep crying about. A lot of people made it with what you're crying about not having. Some see it as an opportunity to take advantage of you. But some see your blindness as an opportunity to help you. The man said he sees men, they look like trees walking around. Let's be clear. Anybody excited? Okay. Let's be clear. Okay, a little bit better. First and foremost, let's understand that this man hasn't always been blind. We said that in the beginning. He knows that trees do not walk. He knows trees doesn't walk. He also understands that trees are very big. He see what he does is he has an issue where he has no vision. And when you don't have vision, you give superhuman characteristics to your issues. You give big power to small problems. So even though he said, "I see men," he gave trees the ability to walk. And he gave men the ability to be big as trees. That makes no sense at all. But when you're going through your problems, what you're saying makes no sense at all. You are super mad about a small thing. Your boss on your job that you don't even like has threatened to fire you and you're upset. That is personification. You don't like the job anyway. So why are you upset when they talk about letting you go? They are doing you a favor. There's a dude, and if this is one of y'all, I promise I didn't get a text. I haven't talked to anybody on Facebook about your business. But there is a dude sitting on your couch, smoking weed, playing Madden all day long. He does not have a job. He is eating your kids' fruit snacks. The fruit snack. He done drunk their juice box. And he tells you he might SpongeBob real soon, which means head out. Instead of you understanding that he doesn't add value to your life, you start panicking, wondering how you will ever survive without Jay Sean. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Don't personify your issues. They only have the power that you give them. Your problems only have the power that you give them. So why do you keep giving power to weak things? It sounds crazy, but a lot of us chase behind problems that makes no sense. None at all. Verse 25 says, Once more, Jesus put his hands on the man's eyes. Then his eyes were opened. His sight was restored. He saw everything clearly. Indication number 4. You have passed the test of time. You have passed the test of time. Sometimes you just have to wait a little while longer. Just a little bit longer, and it'll work out. God could have been brought you out. It may have been that you weren't ready to see things clearly. You could have, you just wasn't ready. Were you really ready to go back to school? You say you were, but were you prepared to go back and get that extra degree?
All right, Holy Ghost.
Some people preach the message as if Jesus had to touch the man twice in order for him to be healed. But let's be clear. Jesus has never had to do anything twice in order to get the job done. Never, ever, 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 ever. Ever, 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 ever. He didn't even have to touch the man to heal him. He could have just stood outside his house and he would have been healed. He can catch wind. He can speak to a tree and make it die. He is not a man that has to do anything twice. What this tells me is that he was already healed the first time he touched him. Jesus asked him to see if the blind man believed in Jesus as much as his friends that brought him to him. That was what the question was for. He was never questioning whether my miracle worked. He was questioning whether you received it or not. Sometimes he gives you the blessing, but you don't accept it. I've been in situations where I've ordered something on Amazon and I've got upset because it wasn't there yet. And I went and checked online and made the call and they said, "Sir, it's been on your front porch for 3 days now." It's the same situation. You prayed about it. You cried about it. You went to your friends about it. You watched a Zana Van Zandt about it, and you went to Oprah. And God said, it's been on your porch for 3 days now. You just need to open the box and see what's in there. It's been there. It's been right in front of you the whole time. How many of us have been healed, but we still walk around sick? Just me? Okay. Let's be clear. I've done that. I've been healed from some things and delivered, but still walked around doing it because I felt like it had power over me. When you pass the test of time, you understand that you must be patient in the process. It won't always work out the way you want it to work out, but it will work out. Verse 26, and this is my final point. Jesus sent him home saying, don't even go to the village. Don't even go to the village. Indication number 5, you have protected your vision. Verse 26 tells me that you must learn to protect your vision. You must learn to protect your sight. Once you've got out of that blind state, you can't keep going back. When Jesus healed the man, he sent him home. He said, don't go to the village. At times we get healed and we want to run right back to the place that we got hurt. And say, hey, look at me, I'm better now, hurt me again. Hey, I'm finally healed from you whooping my butt. Can you whoop it again? Hey, I know you fired me the last time, but thank you for giving me a lower job, and now you can continue to mistreat me. Wow. You just got out of an abusive relationship. And you finally, your whole family have been praying and begging, like, can we need something to help him or her? And right when you get out, you hook up with the same person in a different body. I'm preaching better than you, amen, and I'm okay with that. Because I don't need your amen. I'm all right. My famous line is, I got mine. That's what it is. When I was a child and I had a scab on my arm, or my leg, I would pick at it. But my mom would say, if you don't leave it alone, it will never fully heal. Same as this situation. Yes, you've been healed, but that does not mean that you aren't susceptible to being hurt again. If you were blinded before, you can be blinded again. Now, as I open the doors of the church, I'd use my few 5 minutes. I want to remind you that I can bring a message of hope. Many of us came in here feeling like we couldn't make it. But let's be clear. You have been purged on purpose. You have been poached on purpose. You have to stop with the personification of your issues. You will pass the test of time. And once you have, you need to protect your peace. A couple things have looked like what it ain't. Your past ain't what it looks like. Your present is not what it looks like. Your future is not what it looks like. You may have more bills than you have money, but it ain't what it looks like. You're being set up by Christ. You may have gotten a bad doctor's report, but it ain't what it looks like. Your kids may be rebelling and doing the complete opposite of what you taught them to do, but it ain't what it looks like. You can't find a job, but it ain't what it looks like. You had the conversation with your spouse about going in another direction. It ain't what it looks like on that other side. It is not what it looks like, I promise you. Yes, you can heal. Yes, you can move on. But it's a whole lot easier. It's cheaper to keep them. Some of you all, whether it be high school, college, a trade school, or program, you've been thinking about dropping out because it's just too hard. You don't have the time, but it ain't what it looks like. Now, it's Sunday, and a lot of you guys watch NFL football. And when the referee makes a bad call, they have something called a challenge. And the coach will throw out a red flag and say, I need you to look at this thing again. And that's what I need you to start doing in your life. When the devil tells you something, I want you to be reminded that you have a challenge. You have one red flag that you can throw out. Now, program, and this will be your red flag. What I want you to do is look at it. And look at the image below the basketball goal and tell me what you see. Anybody? A man holding up a who? A woman. What else do you see? A tree. What else? A monkey. What else? A lion. So the image has a lion, a panther right here, a monkey hanging from a tree, a man holding up a woman. This says faith, but if you flip it upside down, it says hope. But you didn't know that until you looked at it again. You didn't know it until you looked. It's been in front of you the whole time. But most of the time, our deliverance is right in front of you. It's been in your hand the whole time. But you got to look at it again. Look at what's in your hand. Let this serve as your reminder that when the devil tells you something, you pull it out and say, I just need to look at it one more time. Let me look at this situation again. Because maybe I can see it differently. With a little bit of guidance, with a little bit of hope, with a little bit more faith, I can say, I was hanging from a tree. My life was almost over. But sometimes it is okay to have a woman that's going to hold you up. Woo, it's all right to have somebody that will hold you up. I am not ashamed to have a woman that will hold me up. I am godly proud to have that kind of woman in my life. So I'm not going to beg you. I'm not going to plead with you. I got mine. I got mine. I already got it. I'm not saying I have a one-way ticket to heaven. I can still go to hell like the rest of us. But I have mine. But if you already know, without a shadow of a doubt, that this message touched you, don't waste time. Don't ask your neighbor. Come up. We have prayer. We got plenty of ministers. I see 3, but let me look again. Let's be clear. There should be about 12 of you up here. Because that way it expedites the process. So if you need prayer, come on up. Don't waste time. Don't waste time. Come on up. You've been looking at things wrong. You've been looking at it wrong. It's been in your hands the whole time. But you've been confused because the devil told you one thing. But I told you I came to bring a message of hope.